The final point for this lesson is about media industry ethics. Ethics are rules of behavior or moral principles that guide our actions in given situations. So essentially, ethics are guidelines, things that speak to what we should or should not do in a given situation. Now, most professional organizations related to media creation have guidelines for ethical behavior. So, whether it's advertising or public relations or journalists, they have these rules that are supposed to govern the individuals who work in that profession to help them make ethical decisions. Now, there are some common ethical issues for media professionals. These vary from industry to industry in terms of their level of importance. Nonetheless, they come to bear on multiple industries in terms of media professionals and the decisions that they make. So here's some common ethical issues. The first one is truth and honesty. So this is something that all media professionals need to think about, whether it's journalists or advertising executives or public relations practitioners or some other communication professional. They need to think about communicating in a way that is truthful and honest. Another common ethical issue is privacy. This is invading someone's personal life, right? And this is a consideration primarily for journalists, but for others too, that when considering a story and how you're going to write something, are you being too invasive in terms of violating someone's privacy? So, if you're writing about a celebrity, are you violating their privacy? If you're writing about just your average everyday Joe, are you violating their privacy? That's something to consider. Another common ethical issue is confidentiality. So sometimes a journalist will go to a source, and that source will not want to be identified. They'll say, I want to remain anonymous. And so then the journalist needs to consider the confidentiality of that source. There's other issues of confidentiality that come up for other media professionals as well. So one example of that would be like if you were working in advertising or PR on behalf of a specific client, you might have some insider secrets, some proprietary information about that client. So what products they're developing, for example. And so keeping their confidence, keeping that information confidential would be really important. Another common ethical issue is personal conflict of interest. So it's possible that something in your personal life would conflict with the story that you're writing or the ad campaign that you're creating. And that's something that is important for that media professional to consider is like, am I able to be objective? Am I able to do my job with this personal issue that I have that conflicts with what it is that I need to do? Another common ethical issue is profit and social responsibility. So this is the balance between making money for your client or making money for the news organization that you work for and doing what's right for the public. So this is a balancing act, considering what's more important. Is it more important to make money or is it more important to do the right thing? So if you knew, for example, that a customer was making a claim in their advertisement that was not entirely truthful, then do you err on the side of social responsibility and saying, no, I'm not going to put that into this ad? Or do you err on the side of profit for the company because the company is the one that you're working for? So considering profit versus social responsibility. And then the final common ethical issue is about offensive content. So this also has to do with doing the right thing. But ultimately, if you're a video game maker, are you going to put in something that's super gory and violent? If you're a journalist, are you going to cover something that might be offensive to some people's sensibilities, right? If you're an advertising professional, are you going to put content out there of a sexual nature, playing up the sex appeal? that some people might find offensive. So this applies to many different media professionals. Just thinking through, like, what would I do if I was in that situation where I was going to have to put something into my content that could be considered offensive. So again, these are just some common ethical issues that a variety of media professionals might have to consider. In the next page of this lesson, you're going to find an activity that has to do with professional ethics. What I'm going to have you look at is the ethical guidelines that have been outlined by a particular media professional organization, and to have you reflect on what you learn about those ethical guidelines. Then your final activity for this lesson is thinking about media content and what it is that is being restricted in terms of media content, and the law versus ethics. So the first part of this lesson was all about the law, freedom of speech. Now we've talked a little bit about ethics, doing the right thing. So I want you to consider in the final activity what is legal versus what is ethical. So when you're ready, go ahead and hit next page. There is no further video for this lesson, just 2 activities to finish things out.